want to bring you now to Egypt here, where today, responding to the Muslim Brotherhood's call following the deaths of more than 600 people on Wednesday, security officials, they reached and raided two of the group's sit-ins. Now, the protests that we saw today descended into all-out violence when supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi clashed with armed vigilantes. Night fell in Egypt, ending what the Muslim Brotherhood called a day of rage. The crowds, they dispersed, but a massive fire still burned in downtown Cairo. Earlier today, thousands of demonstrators across the country took to the streets, a response to Wednesday's horrific violence that killed hundreds. The Egyptian military responded with a show of force. Tanks, they lined up in the coastal city of Alexandria and in Cairo's Tahrir Square, which was sealed off to pedestrians and to vehicles. Security forces, they used live ammunition to contain crowds in Cairo. The Obama administration is keeping a close eye on the escalating situation. Egypt, as you know, a key ally for the U.S. in the region, and the United States is heavily invested there. More than $1 billion in military aid every year is set aside for Egypt, and yesterday the president said the violence must stop.
The Egyptian people deserve better than what we've seen over the last several days.
A White House advisor reportedly said that the U.S. wants to remain engaged, but the further Egypt heads down a violent path, the more difficult it is for the Obama administration to maintain its level of commitment. President Obama said Egyptians need to step up and take control.
We've been blamed by supporters of Morsi. We've been blamed by the other side as if we are supporters of Morsi.
Now, President Obama said that blame game, well, it needs to stop, and it will not help Egypt get back on the path of stability. So what is it really like on the ground in Cairo right now? Well, we spoke with Monique El-Faizy, a project leader at the World Policy Institute. She's also a freelance journalist who is in Cairo, Egypt as we speak. She's there with her family working on a book about Egypt's Coptic Christian minority. And she told us how tensions are pervading life there, even if you're not in the thick of it. We're seeing the scene obviously play out in the images that are playing globally here, but if you had to describe what we're seeing, would you say that it's a panic or a fear that's gripping this country, or more a sense of uncertainty?
You know, there's a tension here that pervades everything. Let me start by saying I'm here with my two kids, so I've done everything in my power to keep them away from the violence and from seeing what's going on the streets. Obviously, the pictures are all over TV. We're in a very calm, peaceful neighborhood, and I would say even here there's just a tension pervading everything. Particularly with the curfew, which is pretty early. So, you know, the curfew comes at 7, and, you know, by 5, everybody's closing up and trying to get home. So, you know, nothing is getting done, and there's just a real nervousness and edginess. And, you know, no one knows where it's going to go.
One of the things I think that is making this such a complicated situation is reports today where you have literally armed vigilantes and citizens that are taking on elements of the Muslim Brotherhood, forgetting even the military for the moment. There's a real schism in this country as to, really since the fall of Mubarak, who should lead here. And I know you can't put them and compartmentalize them into nice, even little boxes, but still, within the population, there's real conflict about who they'd like to see, you know, keep the trains running on time and keep whatever business there is operating right now. And this has been simmering for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a black and white situation by any stretch of the imagination. The Brotherhood is correct in that their president was democratically elected. Having said that, the other side has very, very legitimate grievances. And, you know, as one official said to me, that we couldn't wait 4 years. In America, you don't like the president, you wait 4 years, you elect a new one. The country was falling and falling fast, and we couldn't wait 4 years. And, you know, there are a lot of people here who think that's a very valid point of view. So it's, you know, you have legitimate grievances on both sides, which makes it a very messy, complicated situation. And as you said, you have people with arms roaming the streets. And I think what makes today very different than the situation in 2011 is a lot of arms have been smuggled into the country in the intervening years, and there are far more armed people on the streets, which makes everybody nervous and makes the entire situation much more volatile.
On a personal level, the State Department has encouraged every American to come home now, to leave Egypt. You mentioned before you're there with your family, including young children. Are you strongly considering leaving and coming home?
You know, we're watching it. Obviously, we're here with young kids, so you know, the stability of the country is a great concern to us. We're watching it closely. The situation is fluid and very unstable. Our neighborhood feels safe for the time being. If that were to change, we would leave immediately. And if it looked like the country was going to get more unstable, and, you know, people in the media are talking about the possibility of civil war, all the Egyptians sort of poo-poo that. But if that were to happen, obviously, we would leave. The safety of our children is of the utmost concern to us.